Imagine a coin you've held without a second thought, hiding a fortune in plain sight. This is the 1986 P. Washington quarter, but not just any quarter. There's a secret tucked into its design, a tiny flaw that collectors call the holy grail of 1986 coins. And it could be sitting right in your pocket right now. It all starts at the US Mint back in 1986. Hundreds of millions of quarters rolled off the presses that year, destined for soda machines, parking meters, and the hands of everyday Americans. Most were ordinary, forgettable coins, but a few were different. A slight misalignment during striking, a subtle doubling of the letters, a faint ghost image on the obverse. Details so tiny that the untrained eye would never notice. And yet, these minute imperfections created a coin that today can sell for millions of dollars. Collectors call it a once-in-a-lifetime find, and they are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for it. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A collector in Ohio, cleaning out a drawer of coins his grandfather had saved, noticed something unusual. At first, he thought it was just dirt, a shadow of wear. But as he held the quarter to the light, the doubling became unmistakable. The letters on Washington's bust shimmered differently. The lines seemed to echo. It was subtle, almost invisible, yet powerful. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Dealers were shocked when they saw the coin. They rushed to authenticate it, sending it to top grading companies. When it emerged, the results were jaw-dropping. Pristine condition, perfect strike, the elusive 1986 P mint mark, and the rare doubling on the obverse. Suddenly, a simple pocket quarter was revealed as a treasure of extraordinary value. One man's pocket change had turned into a $1 million miracle. Collectors call this the 1986 P $1 million quarter for a reason. Its story is filled with near misses. Some were tossed into piggy banks, some were accidentally melted down, and some ended up in the hands of people who had no idea what they were holding. Every coin that survives in high grade is a survivor story. And surviving in perfect condition? That's what makes it priceless. But here's the twist. This is not about luck alone. Identifying this coin requires knowledge. You need to look for the subtle clues, the doubled letters, especially in the word Liberty and the date 1986. The lines on Washington's bust, slightly heavier than usual, almost like a shadow doubling itself. Some coins may have faint doubling on the rim. And the mint mark, a perfectly struck P, is the key. Without it, the coin loses a significant portion of its value. This tiny detail can mean the difference between a few dollars and millions. Imagine walking into a coin show, thinking you're holding a regular quarter, and discovering it's a ticket to unimaginable wealth. That's the thrill collectors live for. But it's not just the money. It's the story, the mystery, the chase. The 1986 P. Washington quarter carries decades of history, of presses humming, of coins falling into pockets, jars, and forgotten drawers. And somewhere, more of these rare coins still exist, waiting to be found. Collectors worldwide are on high alert. Every roll of quarters, every jar of coins, could hide the next $1 million discovery. Dealers are calling, buyers are watching auctions, and whispers of these rare coins circulate through forums and clubs like secret treasure maps. One misstep, one overlooked coin, and the opportunity is gone. Timing and knowledge are everything. The thrill doesn't end at discovery. Authentication is critical. Even a minor imperfection can dramatically affect the coin's value. Grading companies scrutinize every detail, examining the doubling, the strike, the mint mark. A perfect 1986 P. Washington quarter in pristine condition is almost mythical, and that rarity drives its extraordinary price. Every detail counts, and the coin you overlook could be the next one that changes a collector's life forever. But what makes this coin so emotionally powerful is the transformation it represents. Ordinary change, something so mundane, turning into a fortune. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle, literally. The thought that this coin could be sitting in a desk drawer, a jar of coins, or a forgotten wallet is thrilling. It's the ultimate reminder that treasures are everywhere. You just have to know where to look. Always check new quarters carefully. Look at the letters under magnification. Examine the date. Look at the edges, and always check the mint mark. And remember, not every coin is a winner. The real value lies in the rare few with perfect doubling, flawless strike, and the 1986 P mark. The rest are beautiful, but they're not million-dollar miracles. Collectors who missed out on these coins are kicking themselves. Stories abound of coins discarded, used in vending machines, or even swept under a rug. And yet, every year, more appear, sometimes in the most unlikely places. A pocket, a couch cushion, a donation box. It's the unpredictability, the hidden nature of these coins, that keeps the coin world obsessed. Imagine holding one in your hand, feeling its weight, examining its shine, knowing that a small shift in design decades ago has created something extraordinary. The adrenaline, the disbelief, the joy, it's what drives collectors to hunt, to research, to never overlook a single coin. This is more than money. This is history, mystery, and opportunity rolled into a single silver disc. Knowledge is power. The 1986 P. Washington quarter can only reward those who know exactly what to look for. Study the doubling. Check the mint mark. Examine the condition. Handle each coin with care. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine that, a single quarter, ordinary at first glance, suddenly transforming someone's life in a heartbeat. This isn't a story about luck. It's a story about history, mystery, and the tiniest details that turn a simple coin into a treasure beyond imagination. The 2003 P. Missouri quarter was one of the quietest releases of the early 2000s. Millions were minted, distributed, and used for everyday purchases. Most ended up in pockets, piggy banks, and coin jars, unremarkable and ignored. But among them, a few hold a secret so rare, it has collectors and dealers around the world scrambling to find them. It began with a seemingly minor minting error, something invisible to most, overlooked by millions, yet obvious to those who know what to look for. These quarters were struck with subtle anomalies on the obverse, a tiny doubling on the lettering, a slight shift in the date. It's almost imperceptible, but this small detail is why this coin is worth millions today. Collectors call it a hidden treasure of Missouri. One man, an everyday collector, stumbled upon this coin while sorting through his change. He didn't know what he had. It sat in a drawer for months, tucked between grocery coins and a handful of other quarters. Until one afternoon, curiosity led him to examine it closely, magnifying glass in hand. What he saw made his heart skip a beat, the tiny, precise minting anomaly that makes this coin so rare. In that moment, his pocket change became a $1 million miracle. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread slowly, cautiously at first. Dealers verified the coin, experts examined the subtle doubling, and auction houses realized the gravity of what they were seeing. This ordinary quarter, used to buy coffee and candy, was now a contender for a multi-million-dollar valuation. Collectors were shocked. Coins that had been overlooked in change jars and couch cushions were suddenly the subject of intense scrutiny. Every coin collector in the U.S. began checking drawers, piggy banks, and old coin rolls, hoping to uncover the same rare error. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin, offering sums that most people never imagined for a single quarter. The story of the 2003 P. Missouri quarter isn't just about a coin. It's about timing, attention, and knowing exactly what to look for. The minting anomaly is subtle. Look closely at the letters MO and the date, 2003. Slight doubling on the lettering, a faint, almost ghostly outline on the P mint mark. These are the signs that separate an ordinary quarter from a potential $2.1 million masterpiece. Imagine holding a coin worth $1 million in your hand, knowing it was once just a part of someone's everyday pocket change. That's the thrill collectors experience every time they spot one of these rare Missouri quarters. One moment, it's just a coin, and the next, it's a life-altering treasure. The auction history of this coin only adds to the legend. A few years ago, one sold quietly at a small auction for nearly $1.8 million, shocking seasoned collectors. Another surfaced months later, drawing global attention and bids that topped $2 million. The numbers alone are staggering, but the stories of discovery, of ordinary people suddenly realizing the fortune in their hands, are even more captivating. That it's not just the minting error. It's the rarity combined with the story behind each coin. Every 2003 P. Missouri quarter carries a potential secret, a hidden detail that could make it worth millions. And because so few have been identified, Each discovery feels like uncovering buried treasure in your own home. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. It's invisible to the untrained eye. That's what makes this coin so electrifying. Even the most casual collector can suddenly find themselves holding what could be the discovery of a lifetime. The moment you recognize the anomaly, you're no longer just holding a quarter. You're holding a piece of history, a chance at transformation, a ticket to a story that will be told for years. Some collectors have traveled thousands of miles, scouring coin shops, searching through rolled quarters, hoping to find another. Each search feels like a quest, filled with suspense and anticipation. Every coin flipped, every glint of silver in the sunlight, carries the potential for discovery. And for those who do find it, the payoff is life-changing. It's also about knowing the common mistakes to avoid. Many coins show minor scratches or discoloration that can confuse even seasoned collectors. But the true Missouri quarter anomaly is precise, almost scientific in its perfection. Look at the alignment of the mint mark, the subtle doubling, and the sharpness of the letters. This is the difference between an ordinary coin and a quarter that could redefine a collector's life. Think about that for a moment. This exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, hiding among the pennies, nickels, and dimes you've forgotten about. It might be tucked in a jar or rolled up in a stack of quarters. And if you spot it, understand its value, you could be holding more than just a coin. You could be holding a ticket to a multi-million-dollar story. Collectors have shared their discoveries, each tale stranger than the last. One woman found hers in a box of coins her father had saved decades ago. Another man, cleaning out his grandfather's old desk, came across a single Missouri quarter, polished from years in circulation, yet carrying the minting anomaly that makes it priceless. These are not just coins, they are moments frozen in time, waiting to be found. And now, it's your turn to look. Examine the date, check the mint mark, and inspect the subtle doubling on the letters. Compare it to a normal 2003 Missouri quarter. Once you see it, you'll understand why collectors are willing to pay sums most people cannot imagine. This is the coin that bridges ordinary life and extraordinary fortune. The smallest details can carry the largest rewards. A coin no bigger than a fingertip can change someone's life forever. From forgotten change to multi-million-dollar treasure, the 2003 Missouri quarter embodies the thrill of discovery, the drama of history, and the possibility of life-changing fortune. This is more than a coin. This is a story waiting to be told. This is a mystery waiting to be solved. And most importantly, this exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. It all began in the year 2000, a year of new beginnings, Y2K fears, and a coin series that was meant to honor Virginia. But somewhere deep in the minting process, a few coins slipped through with an unusual flaw, a subtle variation almost invisible to the naked eye. One collector, sifting through a jar of ordinary pocket change, noticed something that made him freeze. Something so rare, it could make headlines in the coin world. Most people would have tossed it, never realizing they were holding $1 million treasure. But he didn't. He knew the coin world is full of secrets, and sometimes, the smallest details make the difference between $1 and a fortune. Collectors were shocked when this coin surfaced at auction. Dealers rushed in, eyes wide, fingers trembling as bids soared. What made this Virginia quarter so extraordinary? It wasn't the design. It was the minting anomaly, a tiny imperfection that the average person would overlook. But for experts, this subtle shift meant everything. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the rim and the lettering. Some of these 2000 Virginia quarters show doubling in the inscriptions, a phenomenon that is both rare and highly prized. Only a handful exist with this distinct characteristic, and once they appear on the market, chaos ensues. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. He had no idea when he found it, just a shiny coin among a stack of ordinary quarters. But a quick glance under magnification revealed the impossible. The doubling on the Liberty inscription, the shift in the mint mark placement, details that separate a normal coin from a collector's dream. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When this coin appeared at an auction, the bids started modestly, $10,000, $25,000, and then it skyrocketed. Dealers and collectors who had been following the series for decades were left gasping as the price climbed to over $2 million. This was not just a coin. This was a story, a legacy, a life-changing discovery. Every corner of the coin tells a story. Examine the date closely. Some coins show subtle doubling on the 2000 digits themselves. Others reveal tiny anomalies in the state design. Virginia's elegant outline shifting just enough to be noticeable to those trained to see it. These are the details that make or break its value. And it's not just about rarity. It's about the thrill of discovery. Imagine holding a coin and realizing that what seems ordinary to the rest of the world is actually extraordinary. Dealers are desperate to get their hands on these, and once a coin of this type is spotted, it often vanishes before the next collector even knows it exists. This exact coin could be hiding in your jar of change, your drawer, or even your car's cup holder. It might be next to a soda can or a handful of coins from the corner store. Millions of ordinary quarters pass through pockets every day, but a few hold secrets that can turn into million-dollar miracles. The mint mark, P, must be slightly offset, sometimes faint, sometimes bold depending on the strike. Examine the letters. Subtle doubling on Liberty or In God We Trust is a signature. The design itself may show faint doubling on Virginia's outline or on George Washington's profile. If it looks unusual, magnify it. Every detail matters. One collector's story made the rounds in numismatic circles. He was at a flea market, buying what he thought were ordinary quarters for a small collection. When he flipped a 2000 P Virginia quarter under his loupe, his heart raced. The subtle doubling confirmed what he suspected. That coin would soon sell for over $2 million, a fact that still shocks everyone who hears it. Even dealers who thought they had seen every variation were left stunned. These coins are so rare that every discovery makes headlines. The hunt is relentless, the competition fierce. And yet, this coin remains a symbol of the unexpected, the possibility that the smallest, most overlooked items in your pocket could contain life-changing value. Collectors are drawn to it not just for its price, but for the story it tells. A coin minted in 2000, lost in circulation, now standing as a testament to patience, knowledge, and luck. Every scratch, every doubling, every subtle irregularity becomes a key to unlocking unimaginable value. The truth is, you'll never know unless you look. And the reward could be nothing less than $1 million miracle. First, confirm the mint mark, P, and inspect its placement. Look for doubling in the date and lettering. Check for anomalies in Virginia's outline. Compare with verified reference coins online or in a trusted guide. Take your time. These coins don't reveal themselves easily, and every detail counts. That it's a lesson in patience and observation. One glance, one magnifying glass, one careful inspection could reveal what others have missed. A simple coin, worth a fortune to those who know how to spot it. And in a world where so many treasures are hidden in plain sight, this coin stands as proof that fortune favors the vigilant. Imagine telling your friends you found a coin in your pocket worth over $2 million. They'd laugh at first, and then their jaws would drop. It's a story that feels like fiction, but it's real. And it could happen to you. Remember, the clues are in the details. Offset mint mark, doubling in inscriptions, subtle shifts in the design. These are the things that transform an ordinary quarter into $1 million discovery. Don't overlook them. Don't rush. Examine carefully. Your diligence could be rewarded beyond imagination. This exact 2000 P Virginia quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, waiting to change your life. Over $2 million in value, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the collector who dares to look closer. Will it be you? Imagine a tiny Washington quarter, overlooked for decades, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to discover its secret. Most people glance at their pocket change without a second thought. But what if one of those coins held the power to change a life forever? Back in 1972, the U.S. Mint produced millions of quarters. They were ordinary, everyday coins, handed out to pay for candy, gas, and coffee. Yet among them, a few were extraordinary. Not because of rare metals or fancy designs, but because of a subtle anomaly, an imperfection that only a trained eye could spot. This imperfection is what separates a regular 1972 quarter from the one worth millions of dollars. Collectors who know what to look for call it a minting miracle, a hidden treasure that slipped through the cracks of history. The story begins with the no mint mark quarters. These coins were minted in Philadelphia, but in 1972, a few escaped the standard production process. A slight doubling of the date, a tiny misalignment of the lettering, a barely noticeable difference on the rim. These details seem invisible to the average person. Yet for coin experts, they scream value. One man, scanning through a stack of quarters, noticed a flicker of something unusual. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. That single coin sold for over $2 million at auction, leaving seasoned collectors in disbelief. One ordinary day transformed into a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Imagine the disbelief of a dealer examining that coin. It looked like a regular quarter at first glance. But as they held it under a magnifying glass, the subtle signs appeared: a slightly raised rim, a double date faintly etched, and a mint mark conspicuously absent where it should have been. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on it, knowing the odds of finding another were astronomically low. And this wasn't just about money. It was about history, a moment frozen in time. A small piece of the 1970s that could now be worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. But the intrigue doesn't stop there. This quarter has a mysterious backstory tied to collectors who risked everything to hold on to it. Some quarters were tossed aside, mistaken for worn-out change. Others were tucked away in dusty coin rolls and forgotten for decades. One collector, after searching through hundreds of coin rolls, finally noticed the difference. He realized that sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight, disguised as ordinary coins. And what he discovered could have been the difference between living a normal life and owning a coin worth over $2 million. The key is to look for the absence of a mint mark. Every 1972 quarter that comes from Denver or San Francisco has a tiny letter, a D or an S. The Philadelphia coins often have no mark at all, but that's only the beginning. Next, check the date closely. Some of these quarters have a slight doubling of the numbers, a faint echo that reveals the coin's rarity. Under proper lighting, this doubling is subtle, almost ghostly, but unmistakable once you know what to look for. And the rim, inspect it carefully. A raised, misaligned rim can be the final clue, the whisper from history telling you that this is no ordinary coin. The market for these coins has exploded in recent years. Auctions that once sold common quarters for a few dollars now see million-dollar bids for the no-mint mark 1972 Washington quarter. Collectors are shocked, dealers are scrambling, and ordinary people are realizing that their pocket change might contain a fortune. One man's loose change became a million-dollar miracle almost overnight, and the news spread like wildfire through the coin community. The excitement is tangible, the suspense real. Every coin roll turned over could reveal the next life-changing discovery. Imagine holding one of these quarters in your hand. Not just any quarter, but a piece of history, a coin that has survived decades of circulation, only to appear in your collection. The thrill is indescribable, the rush of knowing that what seems ordinary could be extraordinary. And there's something almost poetic about it. A coin minted for everyday transactions now worth more than most people dream of in a lifetime. Collectors have shared stories of late-night searches through jars, drawers, and old coin rolls. One man, tired after a long day, idly flipped through a pile of change and froze. There it was, a 1972 no-mint mark quarter, almost indistinguishable from the others, yet radiating a silent power. The subtle imperfections screamed its identity. That one coin could fetch millions. The reality of it is almost unbelievable. And it's not just about luck. It's about knowledge, patience, and an eye for the hidden details that most people miss. But the tension builds even further. Some quarters are so close to perfect that even seasoned collectors overlook them. This is why expertise matters. Learn the subtle signs, the faint doubling, the unmarked mint location, the raised rim. These tiny details are your roadmap to uncovering a coin worth millions. And every time you inspect a coin, remember, history has a way of hiding its treasures in the most unexpected places. Even more astonishing, the story of this coin includes shocking auctions where the bids skyrocketed in mere seconds. Dealers were on the edge of their seats, collectors were holding their breath, and when the final hammer fell, the winning bid changed lives forever. It was proof that a coin's value isn't just in metal, it's in rarity, story, and timing. And for the 1972 no-mint Mark Washington quarter, that timing was perfect. The lesson for collectors is simple yet profound. Examine every coin closely. Don't assume that ordinary means worthless. That invisible doubling, the missing mint mark, the slightly misaligned rim. These are the signals of something extraordinary. And with each coin you inspect, the possibility lingers. Could the next one you hold be $1 million miracle? Could your drawer be hiding the treasure that transforms your life? This quarter also carries emotional weight. For the families who found one, it wasn't just money. It was proof that patience, attention to detail, and persistence pay off. It's a reminder that treasures exist, not just in stories or films, but in everyday life, sometimes tucked away quietly in pocket change. And every time you see a stack of quarters, imagine the possibilities. One tiny coin could contain the culmination of decades of history, waiting for its moment in the spotlight. Do not underestimate the ordinary. Study the details, understand the minting quirks, and always examine coins under proper lighting. Because that small, unassuming 1972 no-mint Mark Washington quarter could be hiding in a roll you've overlooked, waiting for the exact right person to recognize its value. And when that moment comes, it will change everything. So remember, look closely at your quarters. Learn the signs: missing mint mark, subtle doubling, and rim alignment. Study carefully, handle with patience, and never overlook the ordinary. Because what seems common can be extraordinary. And the excitement, the suspense, the life-changing potential, it's all real. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $2 million. One tiny coin, one miraculous discovery, one chance to turn ordinary pocket change into a treasure that reshapes a life. But instead, it became a ticket to millions. Imagine holding a piece of pocket change, casually tossed on a counter, only to discover it could be worth over $2 million. That's exactly what happened with one seemingly ordinary 2014 Everglades quarter. The story begins quietly, hidden in plain sight. But what collectors uncovered would shock the numismatic world. That it was minted in Philadelphia, one of the busiest mints in the United States, producing millions of quarters every year. Yet, among the millions, a tiny number slipped through with a subtle but extraordinary flaw. At first glance, it looked just like any other Everglades quarter. The familiar ibis and sawgrass design, the crisp edges, the glint of silver and copper. But hidden in the details was a secret that only the most trained eyes could spot. Collectors were stunned when the first of these coins surfaced. Dealers and experts had never seen anything like it. The minting error was so slight that most people would never notice, which is why this coin could hide in your pocket without you ever knowing. And yet, that tiny detail transformed it into $1 million treasure. One man, a casual collector who had been sorting through his change for years, stumbled upon it without even trying. He didn't go looking for a fortune. He was just cleaning out a drawer when his fingers brushed across the unusual edge of a quarter. Something felt off. A shimmer, a misalignment, a barely there anomaly that whispered of rarity. Little did he know, he was holding what would soon be $1 million miracle. Word spread fast in collector circles. Suddenly, what had been an overlooked coin became a headline. Auctions were buzzing, bids climbing higher with every passing minute. Dealers were calling each other frantically, and collectors who had ignored their loose change were rushing to check their drawers. This was not just a coin. This was history, mystery, and fortune wrapped into one small, unassuming piece of metal. The coin's backstory only added to the allure. The Everglades design was part of the America the Beautiful series, honoring the unique landscapes of the United States. But the Philadelphia Mint that year had a tiny malfunction in the striking process. Only a handful of coins were affected, and they were scattered randomly into circulation. No one knew exactly how many existed. No one knew where they would appear next. The suspense was unbearable, and the stakes were astronomical. Collectors were shocked to see the prices skyrocket. Ordinary quarters, once worth 25 cents, suddenly commanded hundreds of thousands at auctions. And those who held the rarest examples, like the 2014 Everglades quarter with the minting flaw, were staring at the possibility of $2 million or more. It wasn't just a coin. It was a ticket to a life-changing discovery. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A collector, previously unknown, brought his coin to a prestigious auction house. Experts examined it under microscopes, compared it to other Everglades quarters, and confirmed what everyone had feared. This coin was unique, almost impossibly rare, and worth a fortune. The gavel fell, and the final bid exceeded everyone's expectations. Millions of eyes were now glued to the story, and collectors everywhere began searching with renewed determination. What makes this coin so valuable isn't just the minting error. It's the story of rarity, timing, and serendipity. This tiny anomaly is what sets it apart, what transforms it from a simple quarter into a millionaire maker. Most collectors miss it entirely, focusing on scratches or wear, unaware that the true value lies in the subtle imperfection that only a trained eye can detect. One dealer described the frenzy like a gold rush. People were inspecting piles of pocket change, hunting for that elusive glint, the whisper of a flaw that could turn an ordinary coin into a life-changing fortune. And yet, despite the excitement, many still overlooked it, dismissing it as just another quarter. That's the paradox. The coin is right there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right hand to discover it. Attention reset. Here's what most people miss. It's the edge of the coin, the slight doubling on the letters, the imperceptible shift in the design. These are the markers that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. This is how you can identify a 2014 Everglades quarter worth millions. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. The thrill, the anticipation, the sheer possibility. It's intoxicating. Collectors share stories of their own discoveries, moments frozen in disbelief. One man recounted holding the quarter and thinking, "It feels different, but how could it be?" That simple touch led to hours of research, consulting experts, and ultimately, a stunning revelation. He was holding a coin worth over $1 million. This wasn't fiction. It wasn't a story from the movies. It was real, tangible, and waiting for someone like you to find it. And it's not just the coin's rarity that makes it valuable. It's the narrative, the human connection, the idea that something so ordinary could become extraordinary in the blink of an eye. Every scratch, every misprint, every barely there anomaly tells a story of history, of chance, of destiny. And for the 2014 Everglades quarter, that story could be sitting in your own pocket, your own drawer, completely unnoticed. Examine every 2014 Everglades quarter carefully. Look for doubled letters, misaligned edges, tiny variations in the design. Don't dismiss a coin just because it looks ordinary. The magic is in the details that others overlook. This is how collectors turn ordinary change into $1 million windfall. This is how the impossible becomes reality. You don't need to travel, bid, or buy expensive collections to have a chance. These coins are in circulation, mingling with the coins you already have. Every trip to the store, every handful of change, could hold a story waiting to be uncovered. This is not luck. This is opportunity disguised as ordinary life. Dealers are still hunting, still chasing leads, and still paying top dollar for this coin. Auctions continue to break records. And while the world searches frantically, the coin itself remains humble, quiet, waiting for its next discoverer. It could be a man cleaning out a desk drawer, a woman sorting coins on a lazy Sunday afternoon, or even you. This coin is more than metal. It's the embodiment of possibility, of dreams waiting to be realized. One small piece of copper and nickel holds the power to change lives, to turn a simple moment into a legend. And the reality is, it's not gone. It's not lost. It's hiding, ready for the next person who knows what to look for. Take a moment. Imagine holding it in your hand. Feel the weight, the history, the potential. Every detail matters. Every observation counts. And once you find it, once you recognize it, the world changes. This coin could be the one that defines your collecting career, your fortune, your story. Millions have dreamed of it, few have found it, but one could be sitting quietly in your possession right now. This is why collectors obsess over details, why they examine every coin with a magnifying glass and a keen eye. The tiniest anomaly can mean the difference between a few cents and over $1 million. It's thrilling, it's emotional, and it's the ultimate treasure hunt hiding in plain sight. Remember, it's the 2014 Everglades quarter, the one with subtle minting flaws. Look for doubled letters, shifts in the design, and irregular edges. Avoid common mistakes. A scratch, a stain, or a post-mint dent doesn't make it valuable. This is about rarity, history, and imperfection perfectly preserved. This exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $2 million. A simple quarter, waiting for the right person to recognize it, waiting to transform ordinary life into a story of unimaginable fortune. Are you ready to see if it's yours? $2.5 million hidden in plain sight, in your own wallet, just waiting for you to notice. And it's a 2001 New York quarter. Most people never give a second glance to a quarter from 2001. They think it's just another piece of metal, a leftover from a long-forgotten trip to the store. But this coin is different. This coin is special. And what makes it special isn't obvious at first glance. It's a minting miracle hiding in plain sight. A small imperfection that instantly transformed a simple state quarter into a million-dollar treasure. The story begins in the Philadelphia Mint in 2001. Thousands of New York quarters rolled off the presses that year, intended for circulation across the United States. Most ended up in pocket change, in jars, or forgotten in drawers. But a few were struck in a way no one expected. A slight error in the minting process created a variation that collectors now hunt for obsessively. At first, it was completely unnoticed. In fact, it was nearly destroyed. One lucky collector almost threw this coin away, not knowing it could be worth over $1 million today. It's a combination of rarity and the specific minting detail. These quarters show subtle doubling on the design. Tiny, almost invisible, but once you know what to look for, unmistakable. The difference is in the finest lines, the contours of the Statue of Liberty's torch, the letters of the state name, and even the edge of the coin itself. Dealers call it a secret doubling, a minting accident that creates a visual echo on the coin. And in the world of rare coins, that echo is worth millions. Collectors were shocked when the first 2001 New York quarter with this error surfaced. At auction, it fetched an eye-popping sum, setting off a frenzy in the numismatic world. Suddenly, everyone was searching through rolls of 2001 quarters, examining the tiniest details under magnifying glasses, hoping for their own life-changing discovery. Dealers were scrambling. Collectors were calling in favors. Entire coin clubs held emergency meetings to discuss sightings. And the story keeps getting wilder. One man, a retired teacher, found his coin at the bottom of a drawer filled with old coins from years of collecting. He thought it was just another quarter he had forgotten about. He ran it through a magnifier, noticed the doubling, and could hardly believe his eyes. At first, he assumed it was just a trick of the light. But experts confirmed what he feared, or maybe hoped for. It was genuine. His pocket change had just become $1 million miracle. But here's the thing. This coin is incredibly rare. Not every 2001 New York quarter shows this doubling. Most are ordinary, common quarters. And even experienced collectors sometimes miss the subtle markers. That's why identifying it correctly is key. You need to look closely at the design elements. Focus on the lettering first. Look for doubling on the letters, New York. Next, check the torch. Tiny shadows or overlapping lines are a giveaway. Finally, inspect the edges and surfaces. A true error coin often has subtle anomalies that the naked eye can't spot without careful inspection. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. After the initial discoveries, prices started climbing, quickly surpassing any expectations. Collectors who had ignored this coin for years suddenly realized they could be sitting on a fortune. Coin shops began to advertise their collections more aggressively. Private collectors offered huge sums for verified examples. And ordinary people, like you or me, suddenly saw the potential hiding in their own pocket change. One detail is what separates a regular quarter from a potential $1 million coin. Counterfeiters try to mimic the doubling, but the genuine 2001 New York quarter has a depth and precision in the doubling that cannot be replicated. Even minor differences can make or break the coin's value. Experts recommend consulting a trusted numismatist if you find one that looks promising. And don't just trust images online. Seeing it in person is essential. Collectors and dealers often talk about the thrill of the hunt. But with this coin, it's more than just thrill. It's a chance at life-changing wealth. Imagine digging through a jar of coins at home, spotting that tiny doubling on a 2001 quarter, and realizing you may have just found something worth over $1 million. The excitement is almost unbearable, the kind of suspense that numismatists live for their entire lives. A 2001 New York quarter sold for an amount that exceeded all expectations. Bidders were on edge, knowing that finding another coin like it could be their only shot at a multi-million-dollar windfall. And it's not just about the money. Owning one of these coins is a badge of honor, a symbol of discovery, and a testament to patience and dedication. So, how can you tell if you found one of these million-dollar quarters? Start with the mint mark. The P is critical. Then inspect the lettering, the torch, and the edges. Look for any doubling or anomalies. If something jumps out, don't ignore it. Every second counts, because collectors and dealers are always on the lookout. Even a single overlooked coin could be someone else's fortune. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins, and for good reason. They're aware that a verified 2001 New York quarter with this error could transform someone's life overnight. But ordinary collectors still have a shot. A careful eye, a little patience, and a bit of luck could turn a simple coin in your change into a treasure worth millions. And remember, not every coin is genuine. There are plenty of near misses, imitations, and misidentified quarters. That's why knowledge is power. Knowing exactly what to look for, understanding the subtle minting details, and verifying authenticity are the only ways to ensure you've truly stumbled upon a life-changing discovery. The moment you spot a genuine 2001 New York quarter with this doubling, it's like catching lightning in a bottle. Collectors describe it as a rush of disbelief, excitement, and awe all at once. One man's drawer of forgotten coins became a stage for the most extraordinary numismatic revelation he could have ever imagined. So, check your coins carefully. Inspect them under good lighting. Examine every letter, every line, every edge. That hidden doubling is your ticket. Because this exact quarter, sitting quietly among hundreds of ordinary coins, could be the key to a fortune, $2.5 million waiting for the right eyes to find it. Imagine holding what seems like an ordinary quarter in your hand, only to realize it's a hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. That's exactly what happened with the 2001 North Carolina quarter. Collectors across the nation are still talking about it, their jaws dropping, their eyes wide. As if discovering a secret that shouldn't exist, it all started quietly at the U.S. Mint. Amidst the thousands of quarters rolling off the presses, a tiny imperfection occurred, so subtle that most people would never notice. A shift in the die, a faint doubling of the letters, or a barely there anomaly in the details. These small mistakes are what can make a coin go from pocket change to million-dollar fame. Nobody knew it then, but this coin was destined to become one of the most sought-after coins of its generation. Collectors were shocked when the first one surfaced. An ordinary man had pulled a handful of quarters from his change jar, planning to roll them for groceries. Instead, he noticed something odd, a minute irregularity in the design. It didn't look like much, but the experts confirmed the impossible. It was a rare mint error, a coin that could sell for an astronomical sum. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle, and the news spread like wildfire. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these quarters. Auctions have exploded with fevered excitement as collectors compete, bids climbing higher and higher. Some coins have sold for staggering prices, each transaction leaving the room in stunned silence. Imagine bidding against someone who just discovered a coin hidden in their own couch cushions, a coin that could change their life forever. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Hidden among standard circulation coins, another few of these 2001 North Carolina quarters surfaced, each one carrying that same mysterious marking. The rarity became undeniable. The coin was no longer just a collectible, it was a symbol of possibility. A reminder that even in the smallest, most ordinary objects, history and fortune can hide. Collectors now scrutinize every 2001 quarter as if it were a tiny map leading to treasure. They look for the faint die doubling, the subtle shift in the design, the almost invisible imperfections that tell a story of minting error and rarity. One missed detail, one unnoticed flaw, and a coin that could have been worth $1 million might remain unnoticed forever in someone's pocket. Imagine holding this coin. Its face may seem ordinary, but its history is extraordinary. From the moment it left the mint to the auctions where it fetched unimaginable prices, It has been a silent witness to dreams being realized. It's a coin that carries excitement, anticipation, and the knowledge that fortune sometimes hides in plain sight. A man cleaning his car's cup holder. A woman counting her kids' allowance coins. Each time, the reaction is the same: disbelief, awe, and the sudden rush of opportunity. That is the power of the 2001 North Carolina quarter. It transforms everyday moments into life-changing events. To identify this coin, pay attention to the details that most people miss. Examine the North Carolina design carefully. Look for doubled letters, especially in the inscriptions. Study the contours of the mountains and the trees. Tiny shifts or irregularities can indicate this rare mint error. Authentic coins may show subtle doubling in the date or in the word liberty. Compare it side by side with a normal quarter. The difference is almost imperceptible, yet it can be the difference between pocket change and $1 million discovery. Dealers caution that counterfeits and common mistakes can mislead collectors. It takes patience, a keen eye, and sometimes a magnifying glass to find the true gem. But for those who persevere, the reward is extraordinary. A coin once overlooked can become a ticket to a dream realized, a testament to the unexpected magic hiding in the mundane. This coin is more than metal. It's a story, a mystery, and a promise. Every auction, every collector, every discovery reinforces the same truth. Fortune favors the observant, the curious, the patient. The 2001 North Carolina quarter is living proof that life-changing surprises are real, and sometimes they're hiding in your very pocket. So, as you sift through your coins, remember what to look for. Tiny irregularities, minute die errors, faint doubling. These are the signs that separate ordinary coins from the extraordinary. This exact quarter could be waiting for you, hidden among the dimes and nickels in your drawer, overlooked for years, but worth over $1 million. It's astonishing to think that a coin minted decades ago could suddenly transform someone's life. The thrill of discovery, the tension of auctions, the emotional highs of realizing a dream. It all comes together in the story of this 2001 North Carolina quarter. It reminds us that hidden treasures are real, and they often come when least expected. Collectors continue their hunt, eyes scanning each quarter, hearts racing with the possibility that their next discovery could be monumental. The market for these coins remains intense, the demand insatiable, and every find carries the potential for instant fortune. Pay attention, study the details, trust your instincts. A subtle doubling, a slight shift in the design, a tiny imperfection, these could signal a coin worth millions. And as history has proven again and again, some of the most valuable coins have come from ordinary people who recognize the extraordinary in their hands. Imagine holding a piece of history so rare, so secretly valuable, that one tiny detail can turn your pocket change into a life-changing fortune. This isn't just a coin. It's a ticket to a story collectors only whisper about. It all begins in 1976, America's bicentennial year. The U.S. Mint was under pressure to celebrate 200 years of independence, and for that, they released special dual-dated Washington quarters, 1776 to 1976. But here's where the story takes a twist most collectors never see coming. Among millions minted, a small fraction carried a hidden secret. A D-mint mark struck in a way that made the coin unique, almost invisible to the untrained eye. Collectors were shocked when the first of these coins surfaced at an auction in the early 1980s. A dealer had casually picked it up from a customer's change jar, thinking it was just another commemorative quarter. It wasn't until the coin was closely examined under a magnifying glass that the truth revealed itself. This coin was different. The alignment, the luster, the subtle doubling on the inscriptions, every detail screamed rarity. And once the story hit the numismatic community, dealers were rushing to get their hands on these hidden treasures. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A single 1776 to 1976 D-mint mark Washington quarter sold at auction for over $1 million. Yes, one coin. One seemingly ordinary quarter, tucked away for decades, suddenly turned someone's life upside down. Imagine picking up a handful of quarters at the supermarket and discovering one worth 7 figures. That's exactly what happened to a collector in Ohio, who later admitted he'd always carried a small jar of loose change on his desk. One day, a coin glinted differently under the sun, and he knew, instinctively, that this wasn't ordinary. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the D-mint mark. The strike on these coins can vary, creating subtle doubling or an off-center effect that can dramatically increase its value. Some have a softer impression of the date, while others have tiny die cracks near the rim. Experts have studied these coins for decades, but even now, new discoveries surface. Every single coin has a story, and every story has the potential to be a million-dollar miracle point. One man's pocket change became a millionaire overnight, but not because he knew the coin's value from the start. It was serendipity. He took it to a dealer out of curiosity, expecting maybe a few dollars for a collector's set, and walked out with the knowledge that a single coin had transformed his life forever. Dealers call it the miracle quarter for a reason. And while millions of collectors search through drawers, few know exactly what to look for: the D-mint mark, the alignment, and the dual date. Hold the coin to the light. Notice the sharp contrast between the copper-nickel cladding and the inner core, which can sometimes show subtle color variations. Check for die cracks, doubling, and anomalies on the rim. These small quirks can be the difference between a few dollars and over $1 million. Even seasoned collectors sometimes pass over these coins, unaware of the hidden treasure they're holding. But the story doesn't stop there. Auctions around the country have seen bids skyrocket for these rare D-mint mark quarters. One coin, unearthed in a small Pennsylvania estate sale, sold for nearly $1 million after experts authenticated it. The auctioneer later admitted that he'd never witnessed such excitement over a single quarter. Collectors were shouting, phones were ringing off the hook, and the value kept climbing, all because of a subtle detail most would never notice without knowing the secret. And here's where it gets truly fascinating. The 1776 to 1976 D-mint mark quarters were part of a limited mintage. Not all were struck with perfection, and not all survived in pristine condition. But those that did, especially coins with exceptional eye appeal and unique die characteristics, can command mind-blowing prices. One coin in perfect condition sold for over $1.5 million, completely hidden from casual collectors for decades. It's almost as if the coin was waiting for the right person, the right moment, to reveal its true worth. Imagine holding it, feeling the weight, the smooth edge, the history etched into its surface. This is not just currency. This is a story frozen in metal, a tangible connection to America's past, and potentially a life-changing fortune. Every scratch, every subtle anomaly tells a tale, and once you know what to look for, you can start identifying these coins yourself. 1776 to 1976. Next, examine the mint mark, the D for Denver. Look for subtle doubling in the lettering, a soft strike, or die cracks near the rim. Compare your coin to authenticated examples online or in reference books. Condition matters, too. The luster, scratches, and wear can affect value dramatically. And don't forget that even a coin that looks ordinary can hide these rare characteristics. The difference between a $1 quarter and a $1 million coin can be imperceptible to the untrained eye. Collectors who stumble upon these coins often describe the experience as surreal. One told me he felt as though the coin was speaking to him, as if decades of history had been compacted into the small silver disc in his hand. He didn't just find a coin, he found a story, a secret, a miracle hidden in plain sight. But there's a final, crucial point. Even if you don't have a coin from this exact mintage, understanding these rare traits changes the way you look at every quarter you hold. Every pocket, every drawer, every jar of loose change suddenly becomes a potential treasure trove. The world of numismatics is full of hidden miracles, and the 1776 to 1976 D-mint mark Washington quarter is one of the crown jewels. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, waiting to be discovered. Its value could surpass $1 million, and its story could be your story. Keep your eyes open, study the mint mark, and handle each coin with care, because sometimes history and fortune are hiding where you least expect them. When you finally spot that special quarter, remember this moment. You're not just holding metal. You're holding a miracle, a story, a coin that could redefine everything. That ordinary quarter in your hand could be worth over $1 million, and it could be yours today. Imagine a single quarter, so ordinary, so common, yet hiding a secret that could change someone's life forever. And the craziest part? Most collectors have no idea this coin exists. It all started in 1999 at the Denver Mint, where thousands of quarters were being stamped for circulation. Most of these coins would end up in change jars, in wallets, or lost under couch cushions. But a few quarters that year were different. Hidden among the millions, a tiny, almost invisible minting error occurred on the New Jersey state quarter. Just a small detail, barely noticeable. Yet it turned a simple 25-cent coin into a potential million-dollar miracle. Collectors were shocked when the first of these coins surfaced. It wasn't flashy. It didn't sparkle like gold or scream valuable at first glance. But those who knew the secret, who had the trained eyes, could see it instantly. And suddenly, a single quarter went from ordinary to priceless. The discovery story is almost unbelievable. One man, cleaning out his late father's coin collection, spotted something odd on a stack of quarters. It was a subtle doubling of the letters in the state name, New Jersey, barely noticeable unless you were looking for it. But this tiny mistake made the coin extraordinarily rare. Dealers who saw it immediately realized the stakes. One quarter could fetch nearly $1 million at auction, and in that moment, his ordinary coin collection became a goldmine. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread quickly among collectors. Dealers were rushing to verify coins, and suddenly, a coin that most Americans treated as pocket change became a sought-after treasure. Every auction listing brought excitement, frenzy, and disbelief. How could something so small hold such enormous value? The answer was simple. Errors like this are incredibly rare, and rarity drives prices to unimaginable heights. Dealers and collectors alike were in awe. Some bought dozens of 1999 New Jersey quarters just hoping to spot the error. Others scoured coin rolls from banks, digging through stacks of everyday coins with the hope of finding $1 million secret hiding in plain sight. One man's obsessive search paid off when he discovered another example, a coin that would later sell for a staggering sum, validating the myth. Yes, your ordinary change could hold unimaginable wealth. This coin isn't flashy. It doesn't glimmer like silver or gold, but its story gives it life. It's a testament to the unexpected surprises hidden in our world. That tiny doubling, barely noticeable to the untrained eye, transformed the value of something most people discard without a second thought. And that's exactly why collectors are captivated. It's not just about money. It's about discovering something extraordinary in what seems ordinary. Here's what makes the 1999 New Jersey quarter so unique. First, the mint mark D indicates it was minted in Denver. That's where the error originated. Second, the letters in New Jersey show subtle doubling. It's not dramatic, but it's unmistakable once you know what to look for. Third, the coin's surface is pristine, with minimal wear, because every scratch can reduce the value drastically. Collectors obsess over these details, and mistakes are often overlooked by casual coin enthusiasts. Most people miss it entirely. They see a normal quarter, think it's worth 25 cents, and move on. But one careful inspection, one trained eye, and suddenly you're looking at a coin that could sell for over $1 million. The rarity is what makes this coin priceless. There may be just a handful of these coins in circulation, hidden in piggy banks, forgotten jars, and loose change drawers. One small discovery could be life-changing. Every auction tells the same story. A collector, often someone who wasn't even actively searching, stumbles upon a coin that seems ordinary, until an expert identifies the error. The value skyrockets overnight. Dealers compete aggressively, phone calls fly across the country, and suddenly, a quarter becomes $1 million asset. It's the ultimate treasure hunt, played out in the quiet world of coin collecting. Some of the most shocking stories involve coins that were nearly destroyed. One collector almost spent his 1999 New Jersey quarter on groceries. Another accidentally mixed it into a roll of coins he was depositing at the bank. These coins could have been lost forever. Instead, a careful eye, a little curiosity, and a moment of luck preserved them and made someone a fortune. Look closely at the New Jersey inscription. Examine the letters under bright light or magnification. Subtle doubling on letters like N, E, or J is a telltale sign. Check for wear. Coins in better condition fetch higher prices. And be cautious of reproductions. The market is flooded with fakes and altered coins trying to mimic the error. A professional grading service is your safest bet to confirm authenticity. Collectors often say it's like a treasure map. The clues are there, but you have to know what to look for. A normal coin may hold no value, but a coin with this hidden error transforms into $1 million opportunity. One moment in your hands, one careful inspection, and suddenly, your loose change could be more valuable than you ever imagined. Imagine the moment of discovery. You hold the quarter, nothing seems special at first, and then a realization hits. Your heart races. Your hands shake. This tiny coin, so unassuming, could change your life forever. Dealers are calling, collectors are offering thousands, and suddenly, the world of coin collecting is at your fingertips. This is the thrill, the suspense, and the life-changing potential of the 1999 New Jersey quarter. Remember, this isn't just a story about money. It's a story about curiosity, observation, and the rare chance to uncover something extraordinary in the ordinary. Every coin has a history, a story, and the potential to surprise even the most experienced collector. One coin, one error, and a fortune can appear where you least expect. It.so take a careful look at your coins. Inspect the quarters in your pocket, in drawers, or hidden in old collections. Look for the subtle doubling of New Jersey. Check the D mint mark and consider the coin's condition. One coin could be sitting quietly in your collection, waiting for the right moment to reveal its secret. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that could turn ordinary pocket change into a life-altering fortune. That's exactly what happened with the 2006 South Dakota quarter dollar, a coin whose story feels almost too incredible to believe. That it all began quietly, in a factory humming with machinery. The U.S. Mint was producing millions of quarters for circulation, each one destined to buy a soda, a newspaper, or a parking meter ticket. But in 2006, something unusual happened at the Denver Mint. A batch of South Dakota quarters was struck slightly off-center, a subtle minting error that most would never notice. The result? Coins with tiny, almost invisible anomalies that would one day shock collectors and dealers alike. Collectors were stunned when the first of these coins appeared at an auction. A single 2006 South Dakota quarter, ordinary to the untrained eye, sold for tens of thousands of dollars. But experts soon realized that some coins from this batch were even rarer, showing characteristics that could push their value into the millions. This wasn't just a coin. It was a piece of history that slipped through the cracks, waiting for someone sharp-eyed enough to notice. Most people never realize that even modern coins can be worth extraordinary sums. We're talking about a quarter minted less than 2 decades ago. While most quarters from 2006 might be worth just 25 cents, these rare minting anomalies elevate the coin to a completely different league. One man's pocket change literally became $1 million miracle, and the story doesn't stop there. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Dealers began scouring circulation, looking for any hint of this anomaly. Banks were suddenly under scrutiny, with tellers unknowingly holding coins worth more than a car. Every stack of quarters became a treasure chest, every drawer a potential gold mine. Collectors realized that a single coin could change their lives overnight. The exact details that make the 2006 South Dakota quarter so valuable are subtle, yet unmistakable once you know what to look for. These coins often have a slightly off-center strike, unusual die cracks, or doubling on the lettering, tiny imperfections that make them unique. Most people glance at their change without ever noticing these details, dismissing a potential fortune as ordinary pocket money. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins, and auctions are seeing explosive prices for even the smallest anomalies. The thrill isn't just in the value. It's in the hunt, the excitement of spotting a coin no one else sees. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, knowing that it could be worth over $1 million. That adrenaline, that spark of discovery, is why collectors live for moments like these. One woman discovered a coin tucked in an old jar of quarters from her father's drawer. She didn't recognize it at first, thinking it was just another 25-cent piece. But experts immediately recognized the anomalies, and in an auction, that single coin sold for more than some people earn in a lifetime. The lesson is clear. Treasure can hide in the most mundane places. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the rim, the lettering, and the strike. The D mint mark from Denver must be sharp and clear, yet accompanied by the subtle signs of a minting mishap. Those signs, the imperfection in an otherwise perfect coin, are what turn it into a multi-million-dollar collectible. Even seasoned collectors are amazed by how quickly the market for these coins has grown. What was once a curiosity has now become a legend in the coin world. Some dealers are paying tens of thousands just for the chance to examine a coin that might have a hidden minting error. One small decision, one coin saved from circulation, can ripple into a fortune beyond imagination. Every minute spent examining pocket change could be the moment you discover your own hidden treasure. That's why collectors encourage meticulous checking, scrutinizing even the newest coins for anomalies. The difference between a regular quarter and $1 million coin can be a millimeter, a line, a tiny imperfection in the strike. The stakes are real, and the rewards are life-changing. This is more than just collecting. It's hunting for history, for the rare moments when chance and curiosity collide. Each 2006 D South Dakota quarter with these characteristics tells a story, a secret the mint never intended to reveal, waiting for someone patient and sharp enough to see it. But the story doesn't end with discovery. Owning one of these coins changes the way collectors think about money itself. Suddenly, pocket change isn't just currency. It's a key, a potential door to $1 million dream. People who find these coins are often overwhelmed by the realization that something so ordinary can be so extraordinary. The auction tales are endless. Coins bought for pocket change, sold for life-changing sums. Dealers reporting frantic phone calls from collectors. Auctions reaching record highs for what once seemed like trivial pieces of metal. The 2006 D South Dakota quarter has become more than a coin. It's a symbol of possibility, of luck, of the extraordinary hidden in plain sight. First, check the mint mark. The D is crucial. Next, examine the strike carefully. Is it perfectly centered or slightly off? Look for doubled lettering, faint die cracks, or subtle imperfections in the design. These tiny anomalies are your key to millions. Collectors often overlook coins because they appear modern and ordinary. That's exactly the trap. This coin isn't old. It's recent, making it all the more surprising that it carries such value. Millions of quarters were minted in 2006, but only a handful hold this hidden fortune. One sharp-eyed collector could stumble upon the coin of a lifetime in a jar, a drawer, or even their pocket change. Imagine holding one of these quarters and realizing its value. The excitement, the disbelief, the sudden clarity that you might be holding $1 million coin in your hand. That's the thrill collectors live for, the reason the 2006 D South Dakota quarter has captured imaginations around the world. This exact quarter could be hiding anywhere, waiting to turn your ordinary day into a historic moment. Your chance to discover it is real. Check every coin, study the details, and never assume a quarter is just a quarter. This coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, unnoticed, but it's worth over $1 million. One tiny detail, one subtle minting anomaly, can make all the difference. Your pocket change might just be the key to a life-changing discovery, and the 2006 D South Dakota quarter proves that even in the smallest things, extraordinary value can be hiding. A simple Washington quarter from 1965, no mint mark, sitting quietly in a pocket for decades, hiding a secret that could change someone's life forever. Imagine holding something in your hand that could turn ordinary pocket change into a seven-figure fortune. That's exactly what happened with this coin. Most people glance at a Washington quarter and move on. They see a familiar face, a date, maybe a little wear, but they don't see the hidden treasure underneath. In 1965, the U.S. Mint made a subtle change. For the first time in nearly 50 years, they stopped putting mint marks on quarters. But this small detail? It created a world of chaos for collectors and a once-in-a-generation opportunity for the lucky few who know how to spot it. Collectors were shocked when a coin surfaced at a small estate sale in rural Pennsylvania. The man who found it didn't even realize what he had. He picked it up, noticed the shine, the unusual look in the metal, and put it in a jar with other quarters. It wasn't until weeks later, after casually showing it to a neighbor who dabbled in coins, that he heard the word $1 million. One coin, sitting unnoticed for decades, held a value most people would never dream possible. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. News spread quietly at first, in hushed whispers among the most experienced collectors. Dealers were calling each other, desperate to verify the authenticity. Auctions were suddenly being rearranged. What had seemed like an ordinary quarter became the most sought-after coin from the 1965 series. It's not just the absence of a mint mark. It's the subtle production errors that slipped through the mint's quality checks. Some coins show double die features, tiny flaws in the lettering, or slight anomalies in the edges. These imperfections are what elevate the coin from being a mere piece of metal to a coveted treasure worth millions of dollars. A tiny detail like a doubled liberty or a misaligned "In God We Trust" could be the difference between a regular quarter and a fortune hidden in your pocket. One collector, who had spent a lifetime searching through pocket change, told me he once walked past a jar of quarters in a garage sale. Something about one coin caught his eye. The way the light reflected off it, the subtle difference in the design, it was uncanny. That coin ended up selling at auction for over $1 million. He went from casual hobbyist to millionaire overnight. And it all began with recognizing what most people never even notice. This coin has a story that stretches from the busy mint floors in Washington, D.C. to quiet living rooms across the country. In 1965, production was rushed. Millions of quarters were minted, but not all were perfect. A few slipped through with tiny variations that today drive collectors into a frenzy. Dealers are now meticulously examining rolls, looking for that one coin that could be life-changing. But don't be fooled. Not every 1965 no-mint mark quarter is worth $1 million. Many coins sit quietly in circulation, looking ordinary. The secret lies in the details, the sharpness of the strike, the absence of scratches or wear, and those rare, almost imperceptible anomalies. These coins are like whispers of history, waiting for someone with the right eye to hear their story. Imagine holding one in your hand. The metal is cold, familiar, but beneath the surface lies decades of untold potential. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Dealers are now teaching themselves to spot these coins in seconds, scanning through piles of quarters, rolls, even coin jars at thrift stores, searching for that single coin that could make history. Here's where most collectors make mistakes. They see a shiny quarter and assume it's just another coin. They overlook the subtle details, the tiny variations in lettering, the faint lines on the obverse, the unusual luster. These are the exact signs that separate a coin worth a few dollars from one worth millions. And the crazy part? Even seasoned collectors sometimes miss them. Think about the stories of people discovering wealth in their couch cushions, piggy banks, and dresser drawers. Now, imagine one of those stories featuring a 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter. That story could be yours. The thrill, the adrenaline, the disbelief as a simple piece of change turns into something worth over $1 million. And the hunt is far from over. Every time someone finds one, it shakes the market. Auctions surge, collectors compete, and dealers watch anxiously. The story of this coin is living and breathing, and it grows more dramatic with every new discovery. 1965, with no mint mark. Examine the strike of the coin, sharp, clear, and precise. Inspect the edges for tiny imperfections or anomalies. Compare it to a standard 1965 quarter. That subtle difference, almost imperceptible to the untrained eye, is where the magic hides. And remember, condition matters. The fewer scratches, the brighter the luster, the more likely it is to be worth a fortune. Some collectors have even used magnification tools, apps, and lighting techniques to detect the faintest signs of these valuable quarters. It's a combination of patience, knowledge, and instinct. Those who master this skill often find themselves holding a ticket to a seven-figure dream. The excitement isn't just financial, it's emotional. There's something undeniably thrilling about uncovering a hidden piece of history. A coin minted decades ago, passed through countless hands, quietly waiting for someone to recognize its true value. Every scratch, every imperfection, tells a story. And that story could make someone a millionaire overnight. You might be walking past it right now, in your pocket, in a jar, in a forgotten drawer. One simple coin, a 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter, could be sitting quietly as the most valuable object you'll ever own. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on them. Collectors are scanning every roll, and the potential for discovery has never been higher, so take a closer look. Don't dismiss what seems ordinary. Study the details, know what to look for, and imagine the possibilities. Because this exact quarter, this seemingly mundane piece of change, could transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. A retired teacher, just doing what many of us do, sorting through loose change from his pocket, never imagined what he was about to uncover. A coin, seemingly ordinary, caught his eye. It was a 2016 P. Roosevelt quarter. Just another quarter, you might think. But this one would soon be linked to nearly $2 million at first glance. It looked identical to the quarters we all use every day. But collectors, the eagle-eyed ones, know that appearances can be deceiving. Hidden in plain sight, the U.S. Mint sometimes makes subtle errors that turn an everyday coin into a rare treasure. This coin was one of those miracles. No one expected a coin minted in 2016, a year so recent, to hold such staggering value. It wasn't just the date that made it special. It was a tiny, almost invisible detail in the design, something that most people would never notice. One slight doubling of the lettering, a tiny misalignment of the mint mark, that's what sent the numismatic world into a frenzy. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were scrambling. And all of this over a coin that had spent most of its life jingling at the bottom of a jar. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The retired teacher, oblivious to the magnitude of his find, took the coin to a local dealer just to ask about its condition. When the dealer examined it under the magnifying glass, the room went silent. The air felt charged. This wasn't just a valuable coin. It was a potential million-dollar discovery hiding in plain sight. Stories like this are rare. Very few coins manage to leap from pocket change to a headline-worthy auction. Yet the 2016 P. Roosevelt quarter had all the ingredients. The rarity, the flawless condition, the mint mark anomaly. It was a perfect storm. And collectors were lining up, eager to catch a glimpse. Every auction house that handled one of these coins reported record-breaking interest. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle. You might be wondering, how could a coin minted so recently, in 2016, reach such astronomical value? The answer lies in the unexpected quirks of minting. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins every year, and mistakes slip through. Slightly off-center strikes, doubling, weak impressions. What seems like a flaw to the untrained can make a coin one of the rarest in existence. And the story of this coin didn't stop at discovery. Word spread quietly at first, then like wildfire. Collectors across the country started digging through their change, examining rolls of quarters, searching for that elusive 2016 P mint mark with the tiny doubling anomaly. It became a treasure hunt, a suspenseful race where each second counted. Some found coins that were close, but not perfect. Others gave up entirely, never realizing the fortune they might be holding. But this tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The doubling on the lettering is subtle, almost ghostly, visible only under careful inspection with magnification. It's easy to overlook, even for experienced collectors. Yet that imperceptible mark can elevate a common coin into a once-in-a-lifetime prize. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that could change your life. That feeling of disbelief, the adrenaline, the possibility, it's what drives collectors. And for those who understand what to look for, the 2016 P. Roosevelt quarter isn't just a coin. It's a ticket to a story that starts in your pocket and could end with a multi-million-dollar headline. His hands were shaking, a cold sweat breaking across his forehead. The coin had been sitting on his dresser for years, just part of his small collection. He never imagined that it could be worth nearly $2 million. Yet here it was, a genuine miracle of modern coinage. If you want to identify this coin, here's exactly what to look for. First, examine the mint mark. The P should appear slightly misaligned or show faint doubling. Next, inspect the date. Any inconsistencies or doubling are crucial. The coin's condition must be nearly flawless. Scratches, wear, or cleaning drastically reduce its value. Use a magnifying glass, examine it under bright light, and compare it to verified examples online. Remember, only a small fraction of these coins carry the anomaly that makes them worth millions. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. Auctions have seen jaw-dropping bids, and private sales can exceed $1 million for a single perfect example. The thrill of discovery, the fear of missing out. It's what keeps collectors glued to the hunt. Every coin jar, every forgotten roll of quarters, suddenly seems like a potential treasure chest. And this is why stories like these are so mesmerizing. One ordinary day, one ordinary coin, suddenly transforms into a legend. The 2016 P. Roosevelt quarter reminds us that magic can be hiding in the most mundane places, waiting for someone to recognize its worth. And when that moment happens, it's not just a coin. It's history, emotion, and fortune wrapped in copper and nickel. Next time you sort through your change, pause and look carefully. Examine every 2016 P quarter. Study the lettering. Inspect the mint mark. And remember that even the smallest detail can make the difference between ordinary pocket change and $1 million treasure. This exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. A tiny anomaly, a careful eye, and the possibility that your life could change forever. Imagine that, a coin you barely noticed yesterday, suddenly capable of turning dreams into reality. That's the power of the 2016 P. Roosevelt quarter, and it could be yours.